So welcome everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending where you are on the planet. Get your drink ready, have a seat, and we'll spend a happy hour with our speaker today. Welcome to Design Open Happy episode 6. And as you know, for the regular ones, it takes place every 15 days. For the newcomers, you can check the first 5 episodes on the website, designopen.in/happy. And don't forget to come back here every 15 days. So we have speakers coming from different parts of the planet. And Sonia Manchanda, who's co-hosting this with me. My name is Alok Nandi. We are going to share with you the story of Design Open, and then I'll give some insights about Design Open Happy, and then we'll jump into the conversation with our speaker today, Revathi Kant. Revathi, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Alok. Thank you, Sonia. Absolute pleasure to be here today.
We'll wait for an extra minute, and then Sonia, the floor will be yours.
Okay. So Revathi, since you wanted to know about the origins of Design Open, maybe we'll wait for maybe a couple of seconds.
Sure.
And then we'll say it all.
So before jumping in, let me also thank the Spread Design team who's behind all the organization and the logistics, and who's making sure that everything is flowing smoothly. So thanks to DOH team. And as I mentioned, all attendees, you can watch the first episodes on designopen.in website. So Sonia, tell us more about Design Open.
So yes, so Revathi, you know about the India Design Mark, right? Because Titan has won many India Design Marks. So it's not something competitive, however, it's important, especially at this moment, it becomes even more important where organizations take pride in what they're designing and they apply for the India Design Mark. So the India Design Mark exhibition used to happen typically in Pune. And then we talked about, but why doesn't it travel? Maybe we should have it in Bangalore. So we volunteered to host it in Bangalore and help set it up. And as we set it up, we were thinking about, how do we give exposure to industry, to students, to academicians, to everyone, give exposure to design. Design's biggest opportunity and challenge is that it's very open. It defies definition at one level and has so much potential for reimagining, reinvention at another. So it's there for everyone. So we thought, why don't we actually sort of create a forum where we talk to people who are working at the front lines and sense trends as they're happening. What are the shifts? Let's not have a conversation about design which is backwards. Let's look forward, because design is about sensing shifts, feeling the pulse of culture, understanding communities and all of that. So let's create a platform and invite in different people who are doing things. Let's have workshops. Let's open it up. Let's not make it a closed box, but open it up. And since then, we set up the design barn. And when you do this kind of work, you realize, hey, you need to bridge the design gap in our country. So let's set up the design barn. And when we set up the design barn, we started hosting Design Open at the design barn. So you would think our own thinking expanded by doing that, and then expanded further as Alok sort of, we started conversation. It expanded further and said, but why can't we take it to Hyderabad when there's a design week going on, or Kochi when there's a design week going on? And with that openness and the participation of so many people, it just kept going. Microsoft gave us their space, the Microsoft Garage, and we had it there. In Kochi, we had students asking some really challenging questions of the speakers. And like that, it just organically went to 7 editions. We've had 50 plus speakers, an audience of 8,000 people. And then Alok said that in this time, when it's not a good idea for all of us to meet, for obvious reasons. So, we said now it's good to keep that conversation going. Even more important to sense the shifts, even more important to have those conversations with the people again working at the front lines, because they may have the answers which may be useful to everyone, but we need to also have a spirit of optimism and hope in this time. And so therefore, Design Open Happy is that light that we keep on, and the smile that we keep on to sort of have these positive, at one level, difficult at another, and more positive, for people to take away.
Fantastic, fantastic. Congratulations for this wonderful initiative.
Thank you.
And thank you to you to become a speaker within our Design Open Happen series. So you are speaker number 6.
Wow, that's my lucky number 2.
That's great. And so, as Sonia mentioned, Design Open is a platform for conversations. And Design Open Happy is this kind of digital spin-off where we try to maintain the conversations, taking into account that we have to be careful. There is this Zoom fatigue, so many stuff happening on the planet, that we wanted to make sure that it's light, as Sonia mentioned, that we spend together an hour. We have attendees from different parts of the planet, and so we try to open lights and insights on different questions from your point of view as a speaker. And to introduce you to our audience, Revathi, you are based in India, and you are a chief design officer of one of the most fascinating set of brands, if I may use that term, from India-based activities. And from those of you who have not been to India, next time you come, when COVID will allow, check all the Titan ecosystems. And I'm super happy, and Sonia and myself, we are super happy to have you, because Titan and all the ecosystems you have been putting in place are fascinating. So Revathi Kant is Chief Design Officer, coming from marketing background with research and operations research as very, very long ago studies background. And now you are one of the few person in the corporate world having spent 30 years in a company, which is by itself a tour de force. And congratulations for that, because we want to know more. We are eagerly willing to understand how you have reinvented yourself within that journey, and what are the challenges you have faced through. And before jumping into that, for our audience, what we try to make sure is that we are at the intersection of many topics. And these topics are interconnected via 4 keywords: design, innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship. And I'll ask Sonia to trigger the conversation now.
So Revathi, I'm sure the audiences, and I'm also very curious about the fact that, Titan being a design-led organization, I don't know how many such organizations are there in our country. In India especially, there are very few, and where design is at the core of everything. It's not just aesthetics, but it's in the systems, it's in the brands you design, it's in everything. So how does an organization that is fundamentally design-led, and you are in an amazing position to respond to the crisis, to reimagine things, because you don't, most other organizations perhaps would be not as flexible and not as empathetic towards, the users, and have a deep understanding of what's actually going on with them and what do they want in the moment. From that position, how are you thinking, and how is Titan thinking about responding to what's going on? And how do you per se think, because it would be unfair to ask you that question without really contextualizing in what you're all about and how you typically go about things. So walk us through that a little bit if you can, please.
Sure. Hello, everybody, and wishing all of you a very happy day. I'm not going to say a good morning, good evening, or whatever, whichever part of the world you are. I think design, open, happy is all about happiness and optimism. And I'm very happy to be here and to be sharing my views from the Titan point of view. Thank you, Alok, and thank you, Sonia, once again for inviting me to this forum. Well, it is a long question which Sonia has asked me, but yeah, I will try to answer it as succinctly as possible. For those of you who are from India, I'm sure you all know about Titan. For the others' benefit, Titan is a Tata company. And let me start the story. Well, almost 33 years ago, when Titan company was established, our then founder and managing director, Mr. Xerxes Desai, embedded design in the DNA of the company. Think of the man, the visionary who thought of this 30 years back, and see where we are in terms of design. But so Titan was pioneering in that true sense. We were the first ones to have design in our DNA. So as we speak today, and we have come a long way in the last 33 years, we started off as a single brand, single category company. We were known as Titan Watches Limited, and we used to make watches under the brand name Titan, and the name of the company was also Titan Company Limited. And over a period of time, we have actually proliferated into multiple categories, multiple brands, as in the introduction you had given. So under watches, we have 4 to 5 brands, and we are really known for creating our own products, our own brands. That's really the USP of Titan. So now as we speak, we are in watches, jewelry, eyewear, fragrances, accessories, and the latest venture is sari, and which is the Indian wear. We are getting into that sector too. And of course, we also have a B2B business, which is not consumer facing, so not many people would know about it. So in all of these, design is really at the core. So since this forum is about design, so I will focus my conversation as to how design has grown in the organization and what is the role design is playing from a business point of view. So actually, as we speak today, at Titan, design plays a very strategic and integral role in business. And it is considered as a very valuable strategic asset because design actually helps us to remain relevant in a world like this with such unprecedented time. That's one factor which can always ensure that as a company we remain relevant. And within Titan, design has helped all our businesses, all our brands, in fact, to in a significant manner by enhancing value, brand imagery, in terms of innovation and in terms of profitability. So it is not that design is something out of it. Design is very, very integral. If we want to be successful, design has to be in it. So that is the kind of thinking which prevails within the organization. Personally, I strongly believe that design and the role of design is to provide solutions. So design is really a solution provider. And if we were to, and good design is mandatory for success. For any success, you need good design. But when we talk of great design, it also comes from a combination of factors, the combination of in-depth consumer understanding, looking at trends, interpreting them the right manner for your geography, for your business, and of course, a great inspiration. So this combination is what helps us create winning designs most of the time. And underlying all this, people talk of design, they talk of, design, is it art, is it science? But it is none of the two. It is actually a fine balance between creativity and analytics. So because design is the art of creating great pieces is the art, but understanding the consumer, understanding for whom we have to create, what is the need and what is the purpose, all of that leads to the science part of it. So it's actually a fine line between creativity and we can say that it is the analytics part of it. So design is that way, very, very fundamental to to any organization. And for design to be successful and to be successful consistently over a period of time, you need a very robust design process. While people think, how can you bring the process, how can designers follow process? I've come across these questions earlier. But design is design, but it works because of the process. When you go through the very robust design process, it helps you consistently to create winning products, and especially to have more hits than misses. I would say that. So that is the way we look at it, and we are consistently trying to deliver more and more value through design. So what has happened is, in the whole ecosystem of things, design is seen as integral. Design is not superficial. It is not just mere aesthetic, but as much as it's at the heart of it. So all our brands, we call ourselves, we are a product company. At the same time, we are also a retail company. So you see design in our products, you see design at our stores. So it is, as I said, since it was embedded as part of the DNA itself, it's very easy to see that seamlessly across. And of course, it's been a journey. And as you mentioned, that you have seen Design Mark and all of those forums Titan coming in, and it's been a journey. And we have built design to be an area of excellence. So what we have is a Design Excellence Center housing about 90 talented people from around the world, who's consistently working to create winning designs for all our brands and all our categories.
Great. So you have already put us into a fascinating point, which is being at the intersection of many things: product, retail, branding, and everything, if I understand, is led from one unit within Titan in Bangalore.
That's right.
And I'm curious, and I'm sure the audience, to understand how you get all the insights and how do you digest them, because you said you need a robust process. You have so many brands, you have so many activities, you are at the crossroads of so many areas. How do you make sure that creativity remains dense and analytics are read in the right way? So trends, shifts, behaviors. Tell us more about all this.
Right.
Matma.
Yeah. So when we talk about design, as I said, design is the center of the value chain, and design is surrounded by multiple things. And if we look at Titan as an organization, we are a very, very hardcore user-centric organization. So the importance, the consumer is really at the center. So whether it is finance or whether it is design, whether it is any function, all of us are always using the consumer as the reference. So I think that is one very important piece. So when you do something, when you create something, there is a purpose, and there is the person, or there is someone, entity for whom you are creating. So it's very important to understand. So this whole importance, as I wanted to answer the question in terms of how do you get all the knowledge and analytics. So the science part of it is very, very crucial. And we are constantly tracking the consumer. We do a lot of design research. We look at the life of the consumer. We have, ethnography studies. There is a whole lot of data which comes in handy to really dig deep into and understand our consumer lifestyle, needs, behavior, aspirations, and where are they headed. And it's at each of our brands actually are positioned differently, and they cater to a different consumer segment. One specialty about our company is, across categories and across brands, we cater to different consumer segments. So need is to understand every consumer segment in its entirety, so we can create something, we can bring about the products and services which are of relevance to them, which are delighting them, which are leading them. And to do this, one is to understand the consumer. That is one part of it. Once we've understood the consumer, our response would be something which they kind of aspire for. But to really lead and to innovate, it's very important. I'm touching upon the point you mentioned about looking at trends. Because I spoke about the three pillars. One is consumer understanding, interpreting trends, and of course, the great inspiration, which can create a winning design. So talking about trends, we have again a very robust methodology for continuously looking at trends, right? Starting from mega trends to macro trends to micro trends to trends which impact our category and hence what we need to create. So that is the perfect science, and we have excellent trend researchers within the organization who are constantly working on this and coming up with this kind of information. So what happens is all of us are influenced by trends one way or the other. It kind of, our decision making, the choices, the behavior, all of it is really impacted by the trends we see around us. So the way we look at trends internally is we look at trends in three different buckets. If we look at mega trends, we typically look at, robust trends, we look at driving trends, and we look at ambivalent trends. So robust trends are ones which are globally very strong, and they are felt, and it impacts everyone around the world. Driving trends are the ones, they are equally robust, but due to a certain period or due to a certain situation, like what we are going through now, like a pandemic, it impacts and they gain momentum and they gain acceleration. So they become very important and they are driving faster, and that's influencing a whole lot of us much faster, as much as the robust trend, but they have gained the acceleration. Then we have the ambivalent trends, which are present and they are pretty long term, and they are kind of present, for over a period of time. So if I were to just give an example to make what I'm saying clear, if we look at robust trends, for example, today, no prices for guessing, everybody knows the biggest mega trend today is wellness. Wellness is the #1 mega trend today, and which is the robust mega trend. And then the other example is other mega trend is connected world. I mean, what we are doing, all of us here, I mean, we are connected in a very big way. And individualism is another third robust mega trend. If I talk about the driving trends, these trends were always there, but they have gained momentum thanks to what we're going through is sustainability. Even before COVID, even before pandemic, all of us were talking about sustainability in a big way. In fact, it is also their part of the WTO, mandate and agenda, and that is working towards it. But it has gained a lot of momentum. It has given people, sitting at home, reflecting, thinking, questioning, do I need to live in a world like that? And that has brought a fundamental shift and an acceleration in terms of what we need to be doing for the planet. What I can do as an individual, how can I reduce my consumption? How can I make choices which are more, which are green and things like that. So that's one trend. The other trend, which is we see, is polarization. This whole thing about, in India, what we talk about, Atmanirbhar Bharat or vocal for vocal, Black Lives Matters, and the activism elsewhere, what we see, people are just, wanting to break free. They are talking about their point of view. There are polarized views. It's not that there is a general consensus, either it is this or this, but these are very strong. And we are seeing this whole boycotting China, all of that. These are all big movements, and these are high on polarization. When I come to ambivalent trends, there are a whole lot of them, like, gender equality. It's been there. It will continue to be there. Urbanization, of course, it's happening all around the world. Woman power, women really become. So these are certain kind of, trends which have been there and which will continue to be there. So let me actually now jump on to, because we may not have so much time, but I'll just talk about maybe two trends which are really big and which are making and impacting our lives. And I will come to the point, how do you use these trends to make decisions for your brands or for your business? So let me take wellness, which is a mega trend. But if I were to look at wellness, the macro trends under wellness are typically, the first one is mental health. Mental health is it's a macro trend under wellness because of, all of the whole situation, solitude, working from home, not meeting people, business crashing. There is so much anxiety around in this world that this topic has become a very, very big trend. The second one is something you mentioned, Alok, in the beginning of this meeting, which is Zoom fatigue. While our platform is Zoom, but I will take the liberty to mention excessive virtual interaction without the one-on-one human interaction is having its own toll. So, it's for education institutions and I guess companies to think about how are they going to kind of do what to ensure that the engagement is continuously there. The third one, which I want to, I'm very happy to talk about, is good news. Of late, in the last few months at least, the content, positive content on internet, on everywhere, every forum has really increased. People are coming up, talking about happiness, talking about positivity, talking about new things. And I want to compliment you guys for really amplifying that trend by doing Design Open Happy. This is it. This is good news because we have had enough of that and the world is waiting to hear good news. And the whole thing about home as a sanctuary. Today, what about our home? Our home has become our playground, our club, our workplace, our home itself, all of that. So the whole thing about how do we look at home and what are the opportunities for, businesses who are looking at home as a sanctuary or home as a wellness hub. There is so much of possibility. So some of these, and of course, spirituality on the rise is another macro trend. So the way you look at a mega trend, then there are a whole lot of macro trends under it. I'll give one more example of maybe connected world and then go on to how to connect it back to business. If we look at connected world, all of us are connected and it's great. And you're sitting in Brussels and some of us are sitting in Bangalore, but actually your presence doesn't matter. It's a presence-less world. So it's your virtual presence which matters. So all this work from home and, all of this and being wherever you are, partying wherever you are, playing from wherever you are, ordering from wherever you are has created a certain new industry in itself. So this whole thing about cloud clubbing, telemedicine, e-gaming, and in India, the big thing I hear is about the edutech, educational startups. And, there were not too many online players. Now I'm told it's really booming with 2,000 odd startups looking at India very seriously. The good thing will be, yes, we will be able to reach out education to the masses in remote India. That's the thing. So that's the positive order. So like that, and then AR, VR gaining popularity, weddings happening remote, a whole lot of these things, when they are happening, they are giving rise to a new business opportunity. Because a simple example, I was just intrigued today. In India, in the Indian context, people would know that yesterday and today are the 2 days for Amazon Prime Days, and I watched them and they are pretty big. It's like one big festival in India during normal times. So people really look forward to it. And I used to see that after phones, which is the largest category, fashion was the biggest. And now these 2 days, we have to really search for fashion because they are focusing on home appliances, focusing on grooming devices and all the things which you need to consume at home. Obviously, they have seen the change. And then that's how this whole thing gets, taken up, amplified, and then you put it to good use. Then you reach out to your consumer and you are doing things where it can gain traction and kind of make a lot of sense. So when some of these trends, so we spoke about mega and macro, but when we talk about how do you make sense of it, because these trends are touching everyone, prevailing all over the globe, then finally you need to do a filter at a geography level, because not all trends are relevant for all geography. You pick and choose your geography and pick and choose which matters, and then distill it further for your business you're in, for your categories, which trends are relevant to it, and then come back to your consumer base. Take those trends, localize the trends with all the consumer insighting and all the research you have done to create a winning solution for the consumer. So I think this is a very big part in leading the consumer. So on one hand, you have the understanding. On one hand, you have the trends information. The other hand, you have some great designers with fabulous sense of inspiration and creativity. When all of these three come together is when design is just there. It's beyond good design. It becomes a great design. And all these things. So analytics are equally important as creativity.
That's fabulous.
Yeah. So Sonia, if we may take the question which is there because it allows to connect with what Revathi said, and then we'll continue. Revathi, there is a question where someone says correlation need not imply causation always. In this context, can analytics and design thinking exist together?
Yes, I agree that analytics and design thinking will exist together, because analytics is throwing up, whereas analytics is basically analyzing the data and coming up with a lot of hypotheses. And finally, design thinking is an approach which helps you to kind of diverge and converge and choose the solution. So choosing the right solution is always in your hands. It is not science which is correlating perfectly and giving you what is the perfect correlation. But analytics provides you scenarios. Analytics provides you the various options. And you as an individual or as an entity can decide which is the best option for me and then choose it. So both of them certainly can exist together, coexist.
Great. Yeah, Sonia.
Yeah, so I was just saying that, I mean, this is very generous of you. You're sharing your secret sauce with our listeners. And this is so important because at a very fundamental level, I don't know whether companies and organizations focus outside of operations, which is listening and understanding and, having certain rituals to do that, having people who are focused on doing that. Because when we have a scenario like we have now, that's when suddenly you realize that, oh, I wish we had been listening and watching and knew how to respond. So in that sense, this is awesome, and even the recorded episode will have a lot of value for business to listen and see how to be constantly listening and interpreting. How it's in your process. It's in your DNA. It's in your process, as you mentioned earlier. Xerxes used to like visiting us after his retirement, okay? And just watching him park his car was such a treat. It was in the process, it was in everything you do. And it's very important because it's not something you can do lip service to.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not something you are doing lip service to. So I have a question related to the secret sauce.
Well, let me tell you, it's not the secret sauce. The secret is in actually interpreting and making it right for you. What somebody else will do will be different from what we do, for sure.
Yeah. So my question to you is, what's going on in the secret kitchen? So responding to the here and now, what are the things you're thinking about as you triangulate all these trends? You triangulate the way people are changing and the way culture is shifting, new technologies and new innovations, and the things people are doing. Is there a shift in strategy? Is there a shift in the way you look at product? What brands and what businesses are more important? What is the role the sari business plays now? What is the thinking going forward? Whatever you can share, because that again is a learning. How do you navigate like a bat, which is a hybrid creature, which sends vibrations? Is not a good time to think about bats, but still, how do you navigate with great foresight and know where to go?
See, as an organization, Titan has always entered markets and territories which is uncharted before, which has been unorganized, and seen a huge business opportunity, built the brand, changed the ecosystem, brought in more competitors, and made that. This happened with watches. It happened with jewelry. It is happening with eyewear as we speak, and the others are still fledgling businesses, and it will eventually happen. So the fundamental intent is to, take up the market, clean it up, set it up, bring in the whole thing, and let us thrive. That's really been the thinking of, it's not my personal growth as much as let's grow the market. Let's grow the pie bigger rather than always looking at, taking more share from the pie. That's been a fundamental thinking. And the whole proliferation piece is a well thought out piece. And Titan as a company works a lot based on passion and gives a lot of credit to employees and what they want to do. And so when we moved from watches to jewelry, it was a very natural decision. Then we went to eyewear. So we have a lot of internal programs wherein we sense the interest level of employees, and we even seek, it's a bottom up approach to see that what do you think should be the next thing to do. We have entrepreneurs set up within the organization who are looking at which is the next category possibly we should be looking at. So there are multiple ways, and these are the things which energize. Otherwise, today Titan is a large company. We started very small. So these things energize people. These things bring out the passion, the best possible manner. And this is how we have been actually going through it and navigating and conquering each and every business we have gotten. The important thing is we are a Tata company, so trust is our core competence, and there are no ways, there are no two ways about it. Trust, ethics, and the whole thing about building brands. That's our passion. When we talk of building brands, we create the brand right from design to the whole entire value chain, starting with design to kind of, design, develop, manufacture, retail, servicing, all of this. We own the entire value chain. And we tend to do that wherever we go, whichever category we choose. So that is the inherent strength of the organization. And then we structure our people and our processes according that each of them, each of the vertical gets the due focus and resources to in fact become larger within the market. So that has been a strategy which has been paying off. But now I would like to answer your question in a slightly different manner, talking about today's scenario. Today's scenario is very different from what we were. Till March, we were in a different world. All of us, the whole world was, at least in India, we were in a different world. But in the past, I've always used, in some meetings and all that, we live in a VUCA world, I have used that, without giving much thought to it. I never really said, okay, oh, fine. Yeah, we live in a VUCA world. Sounds very apt as an opening line for any presentation or a meeting. But never before I have seen anything or any market which has been so volatile, so uncertain, so complex and so ambiguous. Now I understand what is the true meaning of VUCA. So we really live in, and I hope this is the end of it. And I'm really hopeful that tomorrow will be positive and we have hit the bottom. So truly we are in a scenario which is this. And, here are the usual business tactics, here are the usual way of doing business and, going out into the market, proliferating, none of that, what I spoke about really matters. This is really the time, I believe, where the focus and some of the key things one is looking at, it's about compassion. It is about flexibility. It is about agility. It is about safety. It is about, how can you, be more concerned for others and really be that, So I can say that Titan is doing all of this. Titan is doing all of this to make the lives of many people around us much better. So here I would like to talk about what Titan is doing now as we speak. As usual, we have issues, we have COVID, we have people at home, we have stores closed, we have business at a place. But it's important for an organization to believe. And the last word I missed is faith. Faith and belief, So these are the qualities which an organization requires to thrive in situations like that. And I'm so fortunate to say that I work in a company which thinks like that. So let me just say that when this happened, like towards the end of March, when all of us in India were severely hit by, our lockdowns and all that had started, the first and the foremost step the company did was to look at the safety and well-being of all the people in the ecosystem. Then, of course, extended a lot of support to all our partners in the ecosystem, our extended partners, people who needed, to, stay afloat during these times of crisis. So that support was given. Consumers were called, we called consumers and we made empathy calls and we just called them to ask, how are you doing? I hope you're all fine. And this initiative of ours got such a positive response because nobody expected a business enterprise to call up and say, are you doing okay? Is everybody fine in your family? Is there any help you need? No sales pitch. Nobody spoke about business, just talking to them. And a lot of consumers have written back to us saying that, you guys are different. I mean, you're just asking me my well-being. And that small gesture really matters. And, these are the times when we really need to do all of this. And when the stores started opening in parts, in some part of India, safety protocol became the biggest thing. So, we have to assure our consumers that our stores are safe for you to walk in. We follow all the protocols to the T, no deviations, and you're safe here. And we did those videos and send it to all our customers to build in that kind of, reassurance. And of course, the whole thing about video calling. So you can sit at the comfort of your home, look at the products, look at what you want, choose and select. And while this was happening, we truly amplified our e-com and digital business, which was there, but which was a small part of our being, to provide access to consumers. And even as we speak, we are working on so many new technologies, bringing AR, VR, all of that to enhance this whole experience. So, it is not that we're not talking about what is coming in, what is the business, how are you be prolific. It is about how can we make people feel better. that's in our vision statement, provide elevating experiences to people we touch. And that's precisely what we're doing. And as I said earlier, Titan is also a very user-centric company. So the products we create, the communication we create is all about a deep insight, a deep consumer sentiment is always reflected in all our creations. Even if you were to see some of our recent ads, which is on, whether it is a Rakhi ad or which is a, Father's Day ad, there is so much empathy, there is so much connect, there is so much, empathizing with the real life situation of the people. So I can say that at this point in time, Titan is doing its best it can do to make lives of people much better, with the hope that this too shall pass. That is a very firm belief. And we know that we will come back with a bang. And of course, with a lot of new learnings. So, so the positives coming out of this, of course, the whole digital thrust, the retail has moved digital and very seamlessly and very quickly. The whole thing about agility, looking at, how can we make things happen? How can we change? So these are the things which is very different from the organization we have been, because when you are actually confronted with a situation you have never seen before, the best of the creativity and best of innovation really comes out, and you really try to conquer. And as long as your fundamental, the value system holds good, that is the intent good and do good, and good will come. With that faith is how the company is progressing well. And we are very confident that things will be back in no time.
Fabulous. To me, I additionally get, besides the fact that you've designed it, get the word insight, which is much bigger and more valuable, and the fact that maybe design-led organizations are organizations that receive that insight, and that's
into the heart,
yeah,
that of the brain.
that they get, that is a gift that sort of powers them to move forward. Thank you. Alok.
Yeah, it's very inspiring for, I would say, all the organizations worldwide, because you have been talking about design attitude and design culture. And often in some of my talks, I say as provocations, each city needs to have a chief design officer. Each company needs to have a chief design officer. And if you analyze the landscape, 80 to 90%, they have their marketing officer, they have their finance officer, but they don't have design officer. And so I would ask people to go back and check Titan as a model from any part of the planet, because we need to have more companies where the role of design is well pushed up. Now, I have a question for both Revathi, but also for Sonia, because both of you are design leaders. Both of you are in India. And there is an energy in India, which is quite fascinating when I look from outside. And I would be interested, and I'm sure people who are not there in India, to get a sense of that energy, both from Revathi's point of view and Sonia's point of view, because I think we need to share that, as you said, in a happy way.
Yes.
So that people get a sense of that energy. Revathi, what would be your words, and then Sonia?
Sonia goes first, no?
No, you go first. You're the guest.
Okay. Okay. I think with so much happening, personally for me, I have seen that there is energy which is really palpable. And with, especially as I said, when you are faced with a situation which is difficult, that's when these things get visible. And what I'm also for the first time really appreciating is the work being done by so many people, like our government, our police forces, our, all the COVID warriors, the amount of work they are doing. So there is a certain level of respect and awe which I look, and hence that is happening around. And full credit to our Prime Minister for whatever he has done for the country. I'm not citing any political party here. I want to be politically, I don't want to be politically correct. I'm just saying these are my views, because I feel that India always had it, but India never got the opportunity to be positioned in the world as a great country for various reasons. And we have a leader today who is woken about all of this. One is to go back and say that we have brains, we have talent, we have people, we can do anything, and we have ethics and we have values, and we generally don't go out and fight with others, and we have a lot of things to look at. So it's been, I would say, the palpable energy is more visible now. It is because somebody is trying to help us navigate all this and be seen above all of that, is what I would say. And if I were to talk about two things which strike me, Alok, which I may, are the energy level and this whole thing about, vocal for local, and this, Atmanirbhar Bharat. I've been very fascinated with these two things because I feel that this is where India needs to go. And this will really, for sure, place India well ahead of many other nations. And why not? Again, we have all of this talent, resource, people. We even have the market for consumption. And companies like Titan and Tata's and maybe Godrej and Dabur and Asian Paints, I mean, they have all done it for so many years. And I think need of the hour is to amplify, scale it up to a level never seen before. So the entire country, right from small, medium, large enterprise, the whole manufacturing focus, and all of that really comes alive, that will bring in, a lot of focus on, cutting edge R&D, a lot of investment in world-class manufacturing, and the most important part I am seeing is it will break open our design community. I think it is time for design is now in India. We've always been treating, pockets like, companies like ours, and there are various pockets where design is treated with a lot of reverence. But otherwise, design is somewhere there, and not everybody understands the role of design and the purpose of design. But the minute you got to do world-class manufacturing and make India the manufacturing hub, the precursor to that is design in India. So I'm looking at that as a huge thing, and that is the energy which makes me feel so good. I'm saying that we can be that, and we have to make it happen. So that is one aspect of the energy I can really reflect on. And it's truly brilliant that if we will be able to achieve it for sure. But we need to possibly build a very strong ecosystem for every sector. There are many things we need to do to make it happen. Cost competitiveness and quality are table stakes. I mean, if you were talking at world class, those are table stakes. But if you were to bring in design and technology and brand building, there is no stopping. So I'm very, very optimistic about it. I'm very optimistic about it for the design community. And I would urge all, if designers are listening here, this is the time to go out and make all the difference and tell that this is it. So to me, that is the energy which is, when you told me that was top of mind. So that's my sense. So, yeah.
That's great. I would, what I'm hearing also is creative confidence.
Yes.
Because if I go back to India 40 years ago, 30 years ago, and nowadays, what I see with you, with Sonia, and with many other designers, is that we are getting creative confidence. And that is fascinating. Sonia.
So I'll just build on what Revathi said, and I'll build on the Atmanirbhar Bharat, and talk about the fact that...
May I ask you to, in few words, talk about that for the international audience so they get it?
Self-reliant India.
Yeah.
So therefore, independent, truly independent India. As a nation and as a people, we are a sea of humanity, of course. We are an ocean of humanity. And we've had this beautiful, beautiful habit of overcoming. So if you look at the informal economy and you see we have a very strong informal economy, you see people on the streets with nothing, they will set up a sugarcane stall or something else. So we have this beautiful habit of overcoming, so we can overcome anything. Now to that, you bring in a government and industry and everyone supporting that, and then we can be truly independent. And therefore, maybe all of the work that we have done, and there's a lot of chagrin, in the design community and some of these creative communities, that they don't get the opportunity that they should get. But as Revathi said, maybe now is the time, and there's a platform and there's a call. With Gandhiji, there was a call, and the call was, Swaraj, which is self-rule, and Purna Swaraj, everyone is free. Even the minority communities are independent. So similarly, the Atmanirbhar, everyone has to be self-reliant. how can you be self-reliant? You can only be self-reliant if you have your own brands, you have your own products, you take everything in your own hands. And given the fact that we have this beautiful habit of overcoming anything, you know, we are best placed to respond to that call.
That's great, because overcoming anything is such a designerly attitude, again, back to attitude, that we need to see 1.4 billion people embracing that.
Yes.
And that is one of the core insight of this great conversation. Well, I see that time is flying and our happy hour is vanishing. What do? We have a number of questions. Are there any burning points, Revathi, you want to add before we jump into the Q&A?
Yeah, I just wanted to leave one word for all of us, because, you know, as designers, you know, as creators, just one message which I thought would resonate with all of us is, you know, we are, I think for us creators and designers, it's important for us to be very agile, nimble, and sensitive today, and just adapt to changes, you know. So the challenge I feel is, you know, we always take a problem statement and we want to find a perfect solution, and that's really great. But, you know, when we're solving a problem, the problem itself may not remain tomorrow. So we need to be sure, and today's world, narratives are changing every day. So we need to be very easy to adapt to the changing scenario. And, you know, I read this somewhere. In fact, this is not my original, and it really touched me that I wanted to share it today. Is, you know, build to last is a very famous saying. You say you build to last, but in moving forward, build to adapt is really the way it would be. That was something which touched me. I thought I'll share it with all. We can go.
No,
That's great.
Yeah,
build to adapt will be what we'll remember also. Sonia, yeah.
No, that's great. You know, I mean, I cannot tell you how important that message is that Revathi is talking about, because while process is important, and again, design has a lot of these paradoxes. You know, process is important, but you can get embroiled in that process. You can get tangled up in that process. But right now, maybe we are in a moment where every day is a new day. So there are some things you need to just go out there and do. And maybe that intuitive, and maybe the Eastern intuitiveness versus the cognitiveness, you know, the very analytical way of thinking. Right now, maybe we need to trust our intuition and act on certain things and analyze later. So a little bit of shift in, you know, go do and then feel thing later is from practice. I'm seeing this, and maybe because, again, you know, you are about design, product, manufacturing, brand. So it's becoming important because it's short term. Let's do something. Let's throw it out there. Let's see what happens, I think.
Yeah, let's jump into a question by Avik. Is it always good to just follow trends? Shouldn't companies also set new trends?
Absolutely. I think that's brilliant. Companies do set new trends, and that is also, when you study the trends, you know exactly what is happening. And as I explained earlier, finally, what you do is not just cut and paste that particular trend in your particular business. So when we take inspiration from there and then you filter it at various levels and come up with the distilled version, and when you marry your consumer insights to it, and what you create as a trend will be something which will be a leading trend. So it is not about, so you set micro trends. So what trends we spoke about were about the mega and the macro and how they impact the micro. You will set trends with micro trends by using all that framework to arrive at something which you are leading. It's important to do that, and that's an important question to answer. You should be leading, and what you create from the distilled version and the knowledge and putting all these things together would be something which you would be setting a trend by yourself.
So could we say that a brand like Fast Track is pushing some ways of young people behaving day to day?
Absolutely. See, for brand Fast Track, it's important to understand where the Gen Z is going. Gen Z is very different from the millennials. So there is that whole understanding. We need to see what are the trends which are impacting this particular generation. If it's music, it's today, it's about jamming. It's about, curating. It's not about listening to music, which maybe the previous generation did. So there are those. And then you kick back and say that, what do I do with this trend? How am I going to create something? So the creation is always proprietary to you. I mean, you create something which becomes a trend by itself.
Yeah, great. Another question, Brijesh Shah, if consumption is going down, then what would be the state of business going forward in sustainability space? That's quite a complex question.
Yeah, in fact, it is actually a paradox, because sustainability preaches minimalism. Sustainability is about low consumption. Sustainability is about being conscious. But it necessarily need not, we need not say that if something is sustainable, it's going to impact a business drastically, because it's about the quality, it is about the choice, it is about the longevity. So if you buy something, a byproduct, so fast fashion, if we talk about, you just wear for a week and throw it, versus buy something, spend little more money on it, buy it, use it multiple times, it lives long because it's of a better quality. So the whole so it is actually, you cannot tackle it as in one go. The whole system has to change. The mindset has to change to accept that. Then, of course, it can certainly work, and it has to work. And that seems to be the only way forward for all of us.
Great. So, Sonia, we have 3 minutes left if we want to be sharp on the timing.
So, do you want to take one more question?
Sure.
Revathi, are you okay?
Yes, anytime.
Yeah. There is one question I saw in the chat. Abhijit is telling, how has wearing a watch changed in the last decade in terms of form and function?
See, watch was very functional before Titan came into existence. And we are talking the Indian context. When Titan came, watch became a fashion accessory and it became a style statement. Now with smart coming in, watch has got both form and function in together. So it's a great looking product, but it's got a lot of functionality. So that is the change it has undergone from, it was only function to form to, function to style to now form and function and become very, very important. So it has undergone a change, but it looks great and it's got a whole lot of functionality built into it thanks to technology.
So technology is the driver of new development there.
Absolutely.
Great. So
Alok, Design Open is becoming a whole course in what to do in VUCA times.
Yeah.
People who are following the entire thing, the conversations are it's very rich. It's getting richer and richer. And thank you so much for that. I'm going to talk about the next speaker maybe, and then if you want to still take up a question, and even for you, Revathi, before you go away, we want you to know who's coming up next. So
sure.
You can join us the next time.
Yeah.
We have somebody who's been an advocate for creative industries locally, nationally, globally. And it's Mr. Jonathan Strebley. He is president of the International Council of Design, the ICOD. And he has got decades of experience in creative industries, contributing to the fabric and the narrative of art and design. So it'd be interesting to hear from him. He's also got deep expertise in brand and communication design and is himself a graphic designer. He was the president of the Graphic Designers of Canada, the organization, so really widely experienced. He's also the founding committee member, organizer, and co-host of Creative Mornings. So I think Vancouver, so he would really also understand what we are trying to do here. So he's somebody we are looking forward to having the next time. What we're also trying to do here is sort of create a community so that these conversations continue. And so we encourage everyone to join us on Facebook and also to subscribe to our newsletter on designopen.in/happy, which in any case the team will share in the chat box. So last, do we want to take up Sandeep Gulati's question? And if you'd like to add something about Jonathan, since you know him better, maybe.
Yeah, what I see is that Jonathan is there.
Oh, great. Okay.
And I think it's 4 a.m. for him. I don't know which time zone he's in. Hi, Jonathan. Good to see you on the chat, and looking forward to your talk in 15 days. It must be early morning or midnight. So thanks for being there, and what we see also, Revathi, is that some speakers are interconnecting some insights. Like one of our previous speaker was Srini Srinivasan.
Yeah.
You know him, and so
Yes.
it's great to see that all these are getting interconnected. Yeah, Sonia.
No, I just wanted to add something about Jonathan and
Yeah, so we'll know everything about Jonathan in 15 days. Audience, come back, because we won't say anything now.
You want to take up Mr. Bilati's question?
So Sandeep's question is, compassion in business is very meaningful point stated. It's not always business, but understanding the human. Any product manufactured to help humanity. Understand the safety in design is very important as it helps humanity. Surely Titan looks into safety in design. What is that one thing that is considered in its design by Titan?
So just the last part, what is considered from a compassion?
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed.
Yeah, what do you consider in your design at Titan? What do you consider the most important quality or value?
See, the philosophy of design is designed to inspire. And that is there in everything we create, across every category we create. So it has to be an inspirational piece, always.
Fabulous.
Which is great, because it allows me to push my mantra, which is design is about thinking on the offering. You need to offer something that could not have been envisioned without design. And this inspiration touch is getting so much in resonance. Super conversation. And Design Open Happy 6 is getting finished. Thank you very much, Revathi. Thank you, team, Design Open team, for making things happening, and especially thanks to all the audience, because you spend time with us every 15 days. So Sonia, the closing word, and then Revathi, the closing word.
So for me, it's just I look forward to more such conversations with you, Revathi.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. I thoroughly enjoyed this session, and I hope people have found it interesting and some meaning and purpose for spending their Friday evening listening to this, and feel happy generally in life. Stay safe, take care is the only message I want to leave all of you with. I'm sure there's a better tomorrow. All the best. Take care. Thank you so much, Alok and Sonia and Spread Design, and all of you who are behind this to make this happen. It was thoroughly memorable for me. Thank you once again. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Revathi. And for all of those whose questions could not have been answered, put them in the LinkedIn group and we'll see how to try to answer them as a conversation. Because remember, Design Open is a conversation platform, and maybe Revathi will have a few minutes in her heavy days to answer to some of the questions in the conversation platform. So thank you, everyone.
I want to add something, Alok. The questions coming up on LinkedIn, we are all very active. So we'd be happy to answer questions directly there, and others can also read the answers and learn from it.
Yep, so that we are in that conversation mode.
We can continue the conversation.
Super, thank you. Have a good evening there in Bangalore, and Jonathan, go back to bed. And for the others, enjoy your day, morning, afternoon. See you. Thanks all. Bye-bye.
Bye.